Sea serpent. Sea serpents are a kind of sea monster, either wholly or partly serpentine. Sightings have been reported for hundreds of years, and recent work by Bruce Champagne indicates that there have been 1,200 or more all told. Sea serpents have been seen from both ship and shore, and by multiple people at once, groups that sometimes count scientists among their number. Despite the numerous sightings, though, no credible physical evidence has been recorded, and it is currently believed that the serpents do not actually exist. Sea serpent ancient history. In Norse mythology, Jærmungandr, or Midgårdsormen, was a sea serpent so long that it encircled the entire world, Midgård. Some stories report of sailors mistaking its back for a chain of islands. The Midgårdsorm was also child of the Norse god Loki and his mistress the Jotun woman Angerboda. Sea serpents also appear frequently in later Scandinavian folklore, particularly in that of Norway. In Swedish writer Olaus Magnus's Cardamorena, many marine monsters of varied form appear, including an immense sea serpent. Moreover, in his 1555 work History of the Northern Peoples, Magnus gives the following description of a Norwegian sea serpent. Those who sail up along the coast of Norway to trade or to fish, all tell the remarkable story of how a serpent of fearsome size, 200 feet long and 20 feet wide, resides in rifts and caves outside Bergen. On bright summer nights this serpent leaves the caves to eat calves, lambs and pigs, or it fares out to the sea and feeds on sea nettles, crabs and similar marine animals. It has long hair hanging from its neck, sharp black scales and flaming red eyes. It attacks vessels, grabs and swallows people, as it lifts itself up like a column from the water. Sea serpents are also specifically referenced in the Bible. These creatures are named Leviathan and Ratub, and God himself speaks of them. In Isaiah 27:1, it says, "In that day, the Lord will punish with his sword, his fierce, great and powerful sword, Leviathan the gliding serpent, Leviathan the coiling serpent, he will slay the monster of the sea." Job 26:11-13 reads, as follows: "The pillars of the heavens quake, aghast at his rebuke. By his power he churned up the sea, by his wisdom he cut Ratub to pieces. By his breath the skies became fair, his hand pierced the gliding serpent." Recent history and notable cases. In the 19th century there were several major sea serpent sightings on the Gloucester and Maine coasts of New England, which spawned a rather silly mix-up. On August 18, 1817, a meeting of the New England Linnaean Society went so far as to give a deformed terrestrial snake the name Scolophus atlanticus, thinking it was the juvenile form of a sea serpent that had recently been seen nearby. After the Linnaean Society's misidentification was discovered, it was frequently cited by debunkers as evidence that the creature did not exist, when in fact, the only thing proven by the incident was that the society had made an embarrassing public error. A particularly famous sea serpent sighting was made by the men and officers of HMS Daedalus in August 1848 during a voyage to St. Helena in the South Atlantic. The creature they saw, some 60 feet long, held a peculiar maned head above the water. The sighting caused quite a stir in the London papers, and Sir Richard Owen, the famous English biologist, proclaimed the beast an elephant seal. The Daedalus serpent has since been classified as a supereel or type 2 sea animal. Another skeptical suggestion for the sighting proposed that it was actually an upside-down canoe, or opposing giant squid. Point. Another sighting took place in 1905 off the coast of Brazil. The crew of the Valhalla and two naturalists, Michael J. Nicol and E.G.B. Meadwaldo, saw a long-necked, turtle-headed creature, with a large dorsal fin. Based on its dorsal fin and the shape of its head, some experts such as Uvelmans have suggested that the animal was some sort of marine mammal. It has since been classified as a supereel without good justification or type 4B. A skeptical suggestion is that the sighting was of opposing giant squid, but this is hard to accept given that squids do not swim with their fins or arms protruding from the water. More serious sightings from the same place and time have since been classified as many-humped serpents, classic sea serpents, monsters of the deep, or type 3 animals. See classification below. Skeptical suggestions for the sightings include giant squid, misidentified snakes, or a wave phenomenon. On April 25, 1977, the Japanese trawler Zuiomaru, sailing east of Christchurch, New Zealand, caught a strange, unknown creature in the trawl. Photographs and tissue specimens were taken. While initially identified as a prehistoric plesiosaur, analysis later indicated that the body was most likely the carcass of a basking shark. What makes sea serpent sightings different from sightings of other unconfirmed creatures is not only the sheer number of sightings, but the fact that many of these sightings have been made by multiple people at once for sustained periods of time. Instead of just one to a few witnesses purporting to have witnessed the creature for just a few moments, some sightings involve dozens, or even hundreds, of people claiming to have seen the creature over the course of a few hours. In many cases, these sightings are well documented in the newspapers of the day, although most occurred before any kind of photographic technology existed. Sea serpent sightings continue today, with reports coming in from the Pacific Northwest and California. The most notable of recent occurrences is the alleged filming of sea serpents by the brothers Bill and Bob Clark in San Francisco Bay. In October 2004, the giant squid, long associated with sea monsters and perhaps the source of many mistaken sightings, was for the first time caught on video off the Bonin Islands, revealing for the first time the appearance in life of this cousin of sea serpents. Sea serpent misidentifications. Skeptics and debunkers have questioned the interpretation of sightings, stating that they could be a vast array of known creatures, such as whales, sea snakes, eels, or oarfish. While most cryptozoologists recognize that at least some reports are simple misidentifications, they point out that many of the creatures described by those who have seen them look nothing like the known species put forward by skeptics and claim that certain reports stick out. For their part, the skeptics remain unconvinced, pointing out that even in the absence of outright hoaxes such as the infamous surgeon's photo of the Loch Ness Monster, imagination has a way of twisting and inflating the slightly out of the ordinary, until it becomes extraordinary. Sea serpent, mythical creatures and beasts or fish, which washed ashore at City Beach, off Perth. These fish are extremely rare. Sea serpent classification. Cryptozoologists may further argue for the existence of sea serpents by pointing out that people see similar things, and it is possible for them to classify the different types.